get started about blockchain conversation.
Welcome to the future of money. Come with us on this journey into the world of Bitcoin, blockchain and crypto projects. You're going to meet the trailblazers. These people have changed my life and they may very well do the same for you. Bitcoin's boring. I don't think so, but it has been suggested to me recently. With that in mind, we are forking off today and we're talking about Ethereum. Yes, you heard that right. So let the shitcoin comments rain in. I personally need to get up to speed, and I'm joined by a very knowledgeable person in this space, also a hardcore Bitcoiner, but a big fan of Ethereum as well. Stefano, welcome along.
Thank you very much to having me. Much appreciated.
Yep, no, looking forward to this. You've explained many concepts in the space to me very well, so I thought we'd give that a go for an audience today. And what we've decided is to start off by really looking at the history of the space, bringing us up to today and where we're at with Ethereum. So with that in mind, I'm going to throw it over to you, Stefano, and you're going to give us a run through of the various altcoins as they're known, shitcoins to others. That's all up for debate, certainly something we will be debating as we go through. So Stefano, I'm going to throw it over to you, and if you can kick it off with the coin that followed on from Bitcoin.
BTC as like the mother of all the cryptos. Obviously, we know that is not true. There were many other experiments before BTC, but obviously BTC is the most famous. So let's start from there. Classic definitions of BTC, it's on blockchain. You have like 21 million private supplies. It's mined, it runs like on POW on an algorithm. And that's pretty much what it does. You transfer the value, the BTC, which can be considered a currencies, a hard money, a
speculative store of value.
Yeah, a store of value as well, like whatever you prefer, basically. But it's in simple that.
What was the name of the next coin?
The next coin was Namecoin, which is basically... Which obviously people thought exactly about that, and they were like, how should we call that the next one? And so that's pretty much what happened. Jokes aside, what Namecoin opens is the fact that open source aspects of the cryptocurrency's code. So the fact that you can fork, which obviously comes from hard forking, you kind of like know something about that.
Oh, is that why I called it that? Okay, very good.
Pretty much.
Yes.
And the idea is basically like to start creating and experimenting with the original code of BTC and see like how much it was possible to stretch the model. So Namecoin carries a lot of similarities with BTC. For example, the 21 million supplies, the same POW, the same kind of rules. There is not a lot of different aspects, to be honest, between BTC and Namecoin, more than like a simple copycat, to be honest.
Not sure. No, moving on.
Moving on, the third one is definitely more famous, and a lot of people knows that. It's Litecoin, and Litecoin is obviously famous because like there are tons of articles saying if BTC is gold, Litecoin is the silver of the blockchain environments. What Litecoin has done is, again, in super simple, is trying to like stretch that algorithm and concept of BTC and bringing that on a situation and being like, okay, what is going to happen if we increase the supply? What is going to happen if we try to actually create a currency that is going to be like cheaper in terms of like the fees in order to like transfer that between individuals? Litecoin came because like it was clear at that time that the equation of like BTC equal money, and so like buying a coffee or an ice cream with a BTC was in the long run was simply not going to be possible, in the particular fact that BTC was a deflation currency. So Litecoin came exactly for that reason. Let's try to like have a currency that we can use. We keep our BTC as like the big store of value that it is, and then we just like exchange like another type of currency on that.
Okay.
From there, we start experimenting not only on like supplies, but also for the features per se of what a cryptocurrency could have done. So the next one in order is Bitcoin. And with Bitcoin, we open up basically on the first privacy coin, as a lot of people and a lot of articles are like claiming how BTC is anonymous and is used for like drugs and all of that things. Let's be honest, it's not anonymous in any
Don't buy
possible way.
drugs with Bitcoin, people.
Just do something else if you
Cash.
have to. Pretty much. But the thing is exactly that. The fact that like obviously everything that is recording on the blockchain has the simple definition of the distributed ledger, and every single crypto does. The question at that point for project like Bitcoin and some others that are going to come after and still we're going to look into are basically the fact of like, okay, what if I want to be anonymous? What if I take that concept of like going away from the traditional financial sector, the unbanked, not being relied on like financial systems and so on. Therefore, I stretch that idea a little bit more, and I also bring the anonymous aspects on that. So I don't want anybody to put a nose into my business at that point. Bitcoin is the first experiment for that. We're going to see other currencies, cryptos that are like following that path. But between that, the Bitcoin and the other privacy coins, there is an awesome joke project, which turned out to be absolutely fantastic, which is Dogecoin. And
was Ripple before Dogecoin, though?
was it?
I think it may have been, yes.
Possible. It could be.
Let's
So
cover Ripple first anyway, because
if we consider
many
Ripple,
people consider that a joke project as well, Stefano.
No, but it doesn't come from a meme. That's the big different aspects
True.
in that. Or did it first came Doge or the meme? That's a big question. So after the privacy coins and in between actually the privacy coins, we have like a couple of other experiments. One of which is a very famous one because like it's currently the fourth one on the market cap, and it's Ripple. Ripple trying to take a completely different approach from what it is the privacy coins aspect. So instead of having like the full privacy, the unbanked, the no financial institution, nobody can look into my business and so on, Ripple take the opposite direction and be like, what if we actually have the financial institutions that instead of using the cash, the fiat that is currently available, they start using cryptos. And so overall, an idea, an experiment like that should, in theory, decrease the cost of FX and exchanges of money and transfer of money between one currency and another, one country and another, reducing overall in a much higher saving for the end customer. Ripple obviously had a very huge story because like it's a crypto that even nowadays is still like delivering a lot of news. The partnership with MoneyGram, for example. But that's obviously like things for the future. And the main point is that like Ripple was trying to be a peer-to-peer network payment system between like financial institutions at this point.
Perfect.
The next one is one of really my favorite cryptos because like I simply love it, which it's the meme. Everybody knows that. It's Dogecoin. And it comes out exactly from the meme. The simple concept of trying to stretch the POW solution or like the supply of 21 million to infinity, like trying to overflow the supply for as much as possible. It came as a joke, but you know, as a lot of things in cryptos, jokes are funny, so people love jokes. And Dogecoin is still present, is still being used. I think that they have developed their niche now by being used for like tips, rewards type of thing, a lot like on servers on Discord or stuff like that. But the main concept of Doge is like, yes, it came up as like a funny joke, but it simply take like that idea of like the supply to the next level, to like
I know people that are laughing because they owned a heap of it and the value of the thing skyrocketed in 2017. So
yeah, that's true.
Jokes aside, some people have done very well out of it. So yeah,
absolutely.
Moving on, I think we're back into the privacy realm.
Yes, after that we got like more not serious but like more famous experiments on the privacy coin. After Bitcoin, we got first Monero, which it's super famous, like majority of people knows Monero at this point. McAfee is a big supporter of Monero, which
Well,
was.
he's just launched his own privacy coin called Ghost.
Oh, so it doesn't like Monero anymore.
I doubt it. He was a huge fan a few weeks ago, but I'm sure that's changed.
Okay, so
Sorry to cut you off, Stefano.
No worries. I was not updated on that final part that now it doesn't like Monero anymore.
Oh, no. I didn't say that. I said he's launched his own privacy coin, so I'm not sure why he would support Manero, but I know he was a massive fan.
But so Monero takes the privacy aspects to the next level, in the sense that it's really is one of the few algorithms that has been like created that even at today there are no research of like hacking or like reverse that type of like privacy algorithm that is being put in place on that. What does that mean? It means that like it follows again like the POW concept and everything. So we're still in the same word or in the same style somehow of BTC concept. The difference in this specific case is that every single time that you're like executing a transaction, let's say I transfer a coin from myself to you, our two addresses are gonna like being put inside a mixer, and so it's gonna be impossible to understand exactly that my address is and your address some Monero.
I suppose a way that I would maybe describe it to people who don't understand the space so well is really, for me, Manero almost just mirrors what a traditional bank account does these days. So in other words, if I'm sending you some money from my bank account to yours, you can't see what I actually have in my bank account. And that's really what Manero does in many ways.
It's true. The only difference is that people in the bank can see that.
Correct.
While in the case of Monero, but it's true. It's very true, that aspects. I completely agree. It kind of like give a little bit of more privacy, and that's why it's a privacy coin to the end user.
So moving on swiftly.
Moving on. We got Dash after that, which it's another privacy coin, very famous as well. The Dash Foundation has been like supporting projects on the Dash blockchain for ages at this point. So what Dash does is very, very similar to Monero in the sense of like being a privacy coin and so on. The difference with Monero is that they're kind of like using, in my personal opinion, an approach that is more similar to what you see on BTC, in the sense of like the reward system, the staking, not the staking, but the running node model, where like you have that 7% return if you're like running a node on Dash. Yep. Again, very similar on the privacy side, but with a little bit, in my personal opinion, with a focus on the ecosystem, on the business side, on like creation of like projects around that.
Yep.
After that, we jump out of the privacy space, and we move on another very famous coin that is still
into the stars.
Yes. Pretty much, yes, which is Stellar. Very bad joke.
Big favorite of mine in 2017.
Really?
Oh, yes. I bought that early 2017, and that was a wild ride.
I think that everybody that bought early 2017.
The coin that appreciated the most in 2017.
Did you sell?
Yes. I don't have it anymore. I've lived on it for a number of years.
Fair enough. That
makes sense.
Makes sense.
At the right time to answer your question.
So Stellar got created at the beginning a little bit in a similar way like Ripple. It was targeting like the peer-to-peer transaction on the B2B and the companies. Obviously nowadays it's much more than that. We have like ideas on like the smart contracts. We have like ideas on like implementing like a more robust ecosystem around everything. But still, we carry that B2B concept and that B2B soul of the projects, which it's kind of like focusing more on the sense of like, if we want to like bring the ecosystem in, if we want to like bring the real money in, companies are traditionally moving more than individuals. Yep. So let's ensure to like build that ecosystem that can actually ensure that everybody around like the entire blockchain industry are actually getting a benefits out of that. With still after Stellar, we're basically like, we arrive at 2013, 2014, depends if we want to consider the ICO or the initial idea, and we are with Ethereum. So why is Ethereum kind of like a big crack in the equation compared to like everything that we just explained? Till before Ethereum, we were talking about just like changing in the features or in the open source protocol and code of Bitcoin. But the concept was always the same, of just like transferring that coin from wallet A to wallet B. While with Ethereum things change because we are capable of adding piece of softwares that are like self-managing themselves, which obviously a lot of people have heard before because they are like the smart contracts.
Yep.
And what Ethereum does is basically bringing the blockchain into a sort of like, let's say oversimplify that, but supercomputer type of thing.
So look, Stefano, maybe on that note, I actually, Vitalik is a guy that most people know in this space. There's actually another guy who I got to know quite well. When was it, 217 or 218? I can't remember now. But he's the founder of a project called Eternity. I actually sat down with him and got him to do a little explanation of what a blockchain is. So maybe if we have a quick look at that, so people can really get a better understanding exactly what a blockchain is, and then we'll sort of finish off this episode by really looking at the difference between Ethereum and Bitcoin. So everyone, this is somebody known as the godfather of Ethereum. He's going to give us a brief explanation of what a blockchain is. So check this out. Take it away, Yanni.
Blockchain, in a cryptographic sense, in the original sense, how the inventor Satoshi Nakamoto talked about a so-called chain of blocks or blockchain. It's a data structure for storing transactions of bitcoins, which combine all this together with a peer-to-peer network and with some asymmetric key cryptography, creates Bitcoin as a global and decentralized cryptocurrency. So a very important piece of this puzzle is essentially the proof of work, which is a puzzle itself. Create new blocks, so it requires lots of work to find a solution to this. And then you're able to essentially attach a new block with new transactions to the blockchain and extend the blockchain.
So that explanation is obviously done by a person that knows much more than me and probably every single individual that I know. But it might be a little bit difficult for a first timer that like.
So really, in simplistic terms, if you could sort of look at how Ethereum is different to Bitcoin for us, that'd be great.
Absolutely. So, well, the first main difference is obviously the fact that we have that supply that is different. 21 millions for BTC, and right now unlimited for Ethereum. The second main point I think is like in the sense of the organization aspects or the decision making of the two blockchain. In the first case, like BTC has very clear rules. We have just experienced the halving.
The rules are in Bitcoin that no one can agree.
Possible, and that's maybe like a good thing that, you know, like everything is there and there is no decision to be made.
It can be, and not to digress, but it's just why we mentioned that. I think it can be sort of something that almost makes Bitcoin or BTC more commodity-like. The fact they haven't reached consensus on a number of issues, which has given us these other versions of Bitcoin. But sorry, I know I've jumped in over the top of you there. I'll pass it back to you.
No worries. I actually think that it's a first experiment. So like partially I agree on the fact of like keeping that as it is, because like it's the first one. Just create a new one if you want to innovate. But the OG, the original, leave it as it is on that side. So the halving, for example, is a very clear rules. It happened every 4 years, and we just experienced one, and that's it. We know that in 4 years there is going to be another one, and after 4 years another one. On Ethereum, such things like this are not available. There was one, if we want to call it equivalent of the halving, which in the space is called the Ice Age of Ethereum, which was basically like the reduction of the number of ETH that was generating for every single block. And that thing happened because there was a vote in the community. They vote and they decide, yes, that is going to happen. So one big difference, I think, is exactly this: the fact that like things on Ethereum can change because the community can vote and can discuss possible changes or improvements in the chain. You obviously get like the fork in the same way that you got on BTC, Ethereum Classic, BTC, Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin SV, and so on. So those things are exactly the same, but the conversation is a little bit different on the Ethereum community. One thing that is not really a different is the fact that like they both run on POW, so proof of work. So you mine both cryptos. Ethereum is settled to move on proof of stake, so mining is going to disappear in the future. But if we're talking like today, they're still like on POW. Where the difference is that the blocks are much shorter on Ethereum, and that technically allows for like a higher execution or transactions per second overall compared to BTC. Now, that's important or not, it depends on who you are, but it's just a different. If you're just like a person that is like accumulating or trading or something like that, that's probably not really important for you. It's just someone that is like experiencing in decentralized application and stuff like that. So the software that actually runs on Ethereum, maybe that's important for you, but it's one different that is present as well.
Excellent. So Stefano, on that note, we'll look to wrap up this episode fairly shortly, but I guess really the key thing for anyone that's fairly new to the space watching this show, I guess what we want you to understand is that Bitcoin, BTC, Bitcoin really is money and a store of value, or even more accurately, a speculative store of value. Whereas Ethereum, you could view as, would it be fair to say, sort of a global computer, a software layer that you can build on. So for example, I know you've been a big fan of Bitcoin, but for your company, you've utilized Ethereum because Bitcoin simply doesn't have the functionality that was required.
Absolutely.
Obviously, people in the BSV camp of Bitcoin hearing me say that and screaming and yelling, going, well, you can now. And that is something we will look at in subsequent episodes. So hold your horses there, you crazy BSV people. We'll get to it. So, Stefano, in our next episode, we're going to go really, obviously, it's fantastic. You've given us a bit of a history of the altcoins leading up to Ethereum. In the next episode, we're going to explore the key topics that are happening right now in Ethereum. And I think there's lots of them. So do you want to give us a really brief rundown of what those are and what people can expect in our next show?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So the first one, and probably like the biggest news going around today, is the gas price. Skyrocketing, just a simple tweet line on what is happening. A person had paid
gas price is the cost of making a transaction.
Yes, correct. In the same way like the fees that you pay on BTC.
So for you as a traditional business using Ethereum, that's going to be a really pertinent topic.
That's absolutely. But even without considering that, as a simple user, there is one wallet that has transferred $133 worth of ETH. And that wallet has paid in gas, so in pure fees, $2.5 million.
I read today that they are not giving that guy his Ethereum or his money back.
No, they're not. However, they
go into detail on
that's true. That's true.
On that. What are the other key things that we'll cover?
Second thing that is obviously like the second big thing that everybody's talking about is Ethereum 2.0. The staking, when it's going to happen, what does it mean for the ecosystem and so on, like all of those information on like Ethereum scaling to the POS and to the next level.
Okay.
Third thing, which is obviously the DeFi, the decentralized finance, the Compound that is issuing their new token for the organization and governance of the DeFi project.
So DeFi is in short, it's decentralized finance.
Yes.
It's a way that you can get a yield out of these crypto assets, which I think
it's not only that. You can also like borrow cryptos if you need to like do a very quick trade.
This is what fascinates me. I'm really looking forward to talking with yourself and the others that are joining us on that show about that. That's something I'm hearing so often now, and I don't have a complete understanding of it. So really looking forward to that.
It's true. On top of that, you also have like another famous topic, the the DeFi is opening up to like the layer twos, is opening up to like one blockchain project that everybody are talking about now, Chainlink, and so like the oracles and like what does that mean, or systems like
OMG would fall in that a means ago, would fall into that
yes,
category. So, yeah, okay.
the layer two, or you get like swap models like Kyberlink and so on, like a lot of like buzzwords, but that's probably what we're going to talk about in that specific case.
Absolutely. So we'll cover that. That's in tomorrow's episode, people. So make sure you subscribe. If you're a hardcore Bitcoiner, leave your horrible comments about us being shitcoiners now below. We enjoy those. You're so encouraging sometimes. And also, the projects you've just mentioned there, we're actually reaching out to the better projects on the Ethereum ecosystem and ones that have forked from it as well. I'd love to get Yanni on that note. Yanni from Eternity, if you're watching this, would love you on this show. So, Stefano, thanks very much. We'll look forward to having you back tomorrow to go into depth on those topics. And thanks for giving us the brief history of altcoins.
My pleasure. I hope that it was like at least clear. Definitely not the most detailed thing ever, but I hope that like at least on the surface, it kind of like gets.
It was really to bring us up to this point of where Ethereum sort of sat in that evolution. So I think you described and covered that well. Excellent. So thank you very much, sir.
Thanks to you.
We'll see you tomorrow. We'll obviously also have a look at how your company uses Ethereum and why you use it. So looking forward to that also.
Fair enough. Looking forward for that. Absolutely.
Excellent. Thanks, mate. See you tomorrow.
Have a good one.
Bye now.